Howdy, folks. Would you Wallace from NeedCoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Here's how it works. The uninitiated. I have just left the cinema where I've seen a film. I'm going to tell you about that film on my way home. And this evening we're here to talk about the Muppets. Okay, so the Muppets. What can you say about the Muppets? Alright, so the synopsis is this. It has been a long time since the Muppets have been performing together. This is in the world of the movie and in the world of, the world. But, so they haven't been together for a while. And the story focuses on Walter, who is, in essence, a Muppet, whose brother is Jason Segel, playing a role. And they've grown up together in small-town USA, and Walter is a fanatical Muppet fan. And so when they finally get a chance to go out to Los Angeles to tour Muppet Studios, they find out that it is true. The Muppets have pretty much disbanded, and Muppet Studios are in ruins and about to be taken over by someone who says that they're going to turn it into a Muppet museum, but secretly wants to drill for oil. Muhaha. So, that's pretty much it. So they basically have to rally around the Muppets and raise enough money to save Muppet Studios and the theater, otherwise they lose everything. So here's your synopsis. Now, a little background. The Muppets, first of all, okay, we'll do the background in a minute. Let's talk about things that aren't right, okay? You have basically a musical film here that is basically self-referential and meta and all those other good things. You have about, I would say, 2 songs that are complete and utter duds that just thud to the floor like a dead boomerang fish. Okay? But, and you have pretty much one gag that shows up in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything away. The fart shoes gag just does not work. And it doesn't even not work in a Fozzie Bear not work kind of way. It not works in a, I wonder who wrote that and why did they do that and what were they thinking kind of way, because it just doesn't work. Now, and yes, some bits of the story are not great, and yes, some bits are goofy, and yes, some bits are dumb. And for the most part, who gives a shit? Because overall, the film works. And the background of it is this. The fact is, in the film, they're talking about how nobody remembers them, and basically the Muppet Studios is in shambles, and their reputation is has been forgotten. And that's pretty much, hilariously, a nice editorial comment about the way that the Muppets were handled up until the fact that Disney got a hold of them. And then a little bit after Disney got a hold of them, because they didn't know quite what to do with them. And it's also nice and self-referential in the fact that they're going in the, everyone, apart from the Muppets, believes that no one gives a damn about the Muppets anymore. And then, it turns out they have all these fans and stuff. Well, guess what? Isn't that funny? So, it's one of those, it honestly feels like the same sort of thing where, if you ever saw the Mickey Mouse short Runaway Brain, where you just go, Disney made this, right? It's got that same feel to it, because it is so very critical of the heritage of how the property has been managed, not just by Disney, but by, by Brian Henson and everyone else, that if you know all of that, it's even funnier. So, yeah, I mean, it's extremely smart in how it handles that, how it's very aware that it's a movie, how it's very aware that it's part of a property, and treats that as part of the plot line. So that's actually really good. But going back to the background piece of it, the Muppets just completely fell apart after we lost Sir Jim, and finally when Disney bought them, this was back when Disney wasn't Dixar yet, right? And so we couldn't trust Disney with anything. We were all hopelessly terrified. But we knew that it couldn't get any worse, because if you saw how the Henson Company had been handling them, or whoever I think it was actually the Hansen Company sold the Muppets to some company in Germany, or whoever the hell had it at some point. Whoever's fingerprints were on that thing, right? Was completely mishandled. So anyway, my thought was, and this was part of my initial thing that I wrote to John Lasseter, who I know reads the site, is that one of the things that I really wanted them to do was do the Muppets. Because if there was anybody you would trust with doing the Muppets, it would be Pixar. Even in a post-Cars 2 world, you would still trust Pixar with the Muppets. You'd trust Pixar to babysit your kid, right? It's Pixar, right? So of course you'd give them the Muppets. So that was what we were hoping for. And they did all the shorts online, and those were freaking hysterical. But then you saw the trailers, and the trailers, I don't know who's cutting trailers in Hollywood now, but please, I mean, you know, my first inclination is to tell you to light yourselves on fire, but that would be cruel. And why would I say that on camera? Because that would just be cruel. I would just say, instead of lighting yourselves on fire, do something else with your time. Or, I don't know, go back and... There's a whole bunch of great trailers on this thing called YouTube. Maybe you could go watch some classic trailers and learn how to cut some trailers that actually tell you what the film's going to be about. Because if you judge the Muppets... This new, not the Muppet, it's a franchise. That's the only thing. You could have named it something else, because now we're talking about the franchise, the characters, and the title of the film all in one go, and it's a little distracting. Anyway, but if you judged it by the trailer, I don't know that there's anybody, except maybe Jason Segel, and maybe not even Jason Segel, who, based on that trailer, wanted to go see this film. It's only when, and I normally don't, I try to stay away from Rotten Tomatoes until I've seen a film. But when I saw that 50 some odd critics had given it, nobody had said anything bad about it until you get later on when people just start doing it to get attention for themselves. You know, I was worried. But here's the thing. It is a film that works for both fans who remember what the Muppets were, but it's also a great way of establishing who the Muppets are. And they very smartly gave us a new Muppet character in Walter, who we can see his discovery of the Muppets and what it means to them, to him, and thus figure out what it means to everybody. It's the old thing of, you know, the right way of doing the first X-Men movie was to bring in Kitty Pryde as your new character, and your new character is who has the mind and speaks what the audience is speaking, sees with the audience's eyes on something new. And instead you know, did it completely wrong. Anyway, but the point being is that they set it up to where you don't even have to, I don't know how you would not know the Muppets, but you don't even have to have an in-depth knowledge of the Muppets to recognize every monster and every character that appears and get all the in-jokes. You don't have to do that, right? I mean, you see it on a different level, but you can walk into this film pretty much bare bones and understand it and get it. And for the most part, it works. And you have the cameos that are fun, and you have... they crammed in an awful lot of characters. They obviously couldn't do everything with everybody, but they gave everybody some really great moments, and it's really quite funny. So I'm actually sort of delighted, because it really is quite possibly the best return. It's realistically the best return to the big screen that we could hope for the Muppets, and it was a lot of fun to boot. You know, and I hope that, just like Disney is discovering that, hey, maybe when we actually do things people want, people will show up and spend money on it. Wow, people want to see The Lion King in theaters again? Who knew? It's only been running on Broadway for how long? Hello? So, hey, we've been wanting to see the Muppets for how long? You put out a movie, and it's kicking. It's going to be one of the best reviewed films of the year, and it's going to make you tons of box office? Yeah, hello? My rates are very reasonable, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, the point being is that if you were afraid, like I was afraid, then I'm here to tell you the water's fine. It's a lot of fun. Yes, there are going to be some things in there that are going to make you cringe, but it literally is the best Muppet film we could hope for, and it's just a great, fun film for kids, and they're going to enjoy it, and you're going to enjoy it. So what I would say is, if you have not already seen it, then you should probably go and see it as soon as possible. especially if you're a Muppets fan, because that will send, hopefully, not a clear message, because, you know, it's Hollywood and they mix up their messages all the time, but at least send some kind of message that we want to see more of the Muppets in some form or fashion. I don't know, call me crazy. Maybe they could put a show on television and call it The Muppet Show. You know, have little variety acts and have celebrity hosts and everything. What a concept. Anyway, cup-wise, I think I'm going to give it a solid 3.5. It was quite entertaining and definitely worth at least a matinee. Like I said, the few problems that it had didn't linger long. They didn't leave a bad taste in your mouth, and you could quickly forget them and start having fun again. So I'm actually very happy with it. I'm surprised at how happy I am with it. There you go. So Jason Segel, I'm sorry I doubted you, but I blame the trailers. And honestly, have you seen the trailers? You would doubt yourself if you watched those trailers. Kermit the Frog himself probably doubted himself watching those trailers. If you can make Kermit the Frog doubt himself, then you've got a plot point. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much it for the Muppets. Well done, Disney. Although Disney, you know, you wouldn't be Disney if you didn't still somewhat act like Disney. Okay, fine. Have the Cars 2 billboard in there. Fine. Okay? It's not like it hasn't made umpty gajillion dollars. And it's not like nobody wants to be reminded that film exists over the age of 8. But did you have to have the billboard in every single shot afterwards? Did you have to show it? We know the Blu-ray is out, okay? We all know it's out. Do you have to rub it in our faces? I'm just saying. But you are Disney, and that's part of what you do. And that's kind of why we love you. Not really. But it's kind of why we say we love you, because we do. And that's just what you do with people you love when they irritate the shit out of you. Anyway, so The Muppets was a great movie, and I think you should go see it often. So, thanks so much for everybody for watching these things. I hope you do enjoy them. And just as a reminder, if you're doing shopping, whether it's Black Friday shopping or Gray Thursday or whatever 15 gajillion different types of things that they do now, remember, if you go through Amazon to buy things, if you're going to buy it from Amazon anyway, if you buy it through Need Coffee, that helps us keep the lights on at needcoffee.com. In fact, I tell you what, I'll probably put up a URL or something right about here that says needcoffee.com/Amazon, and that'll take you right to Amazon where you can shop for whatever the heck you want, and we'll get kickbacks for it, which would be lovely. So thank you in advance for doing that. We see those of you who do it, and you guys really do help us out a lot. It's much, much appreciated. So anyway, we'll see you next time on the Wayhomer Reviews. Bye. Oh, and in true fashion, I always forget, even though I know going in that there's going to be a short, but they did give us a Pixar short in front of it, which was quite delightful. So yeah, that's a bonus. So you'll want the Blu-ray anyway, but when you pick up the Blu-ray for this one, I'll have a Pixar short on it. So that was good as well. I don't know why I can never remember those. Maybe it's because I don't know, too busy thinking about Pixar babysitting people's kids. I'm sure that's going to be a show on the DTV or DXD or whatever the hell they're calling it now. I was just wondering if I would be watching that. No, I would not watch that. Bye.